Jackie Chan understands danger long before fists fly. Danger announces itself quietly first. In posture. In tone. In the way people stop joking and start watching. Seoul, early 1990s. Not a set. Not a stunt rehearsal. Not a place meant for performance. A narrow side street behind a luxury hotel, hosting an international film market. Neon signs buzz overhead. Rain from earlier in the evening leaves the pavement slick and reflective. Traffic noise hums in the distance, just far enough away to make this corner feel isolated. Jackie is walking back from a late dinner. No entourage. No security. Just a driver waiting a block away. That's how he prefers it. Starts with footsteps. Too many. Too close. Jackie doesn't turn immediately. He listens. Free no for people. Young. Confident. Slightly drunk on their own momentum. One of them calls out in English. Hey, Jackie. The name echoes louder than it should. Jackie stops. Slowly. Turns. They fan out without thinking about it. Not tactically. Instinctively. The kind of circle people form when they don't expect resistance. You're fast, right? One of them says, grinning. Like in the movies? Another laughs. Someone mimics a kick badly. Jackie's expression stays neutral. Not friendly. Not hostile. Aware. He counts exits. Behind him, wall. To his right. Alley too narrow. Left. Blocked by two of them. This isn't an ambush. It's worse. It's curiosity mixed with ego. One steps closer. Not aggressively. Testing distance. You could take us, right? He says. 4 against 1? The others laugh again. They want him to react. Jackie exhales slowly. He doesn't raise his hands. That surprises them. Gentlemen, he says calmly. I don't want trouble. That's the wrong thing to say. The closest one smirks. Everyone says that. He steps closer still. Now they're inside Jackie's comfort range. They don't know that. Jackie could end this in seconds. He knows exactly where to strike. Exactly who would fall first. Exactly how the rest would freeze. The calculations happen automatically. Training never leaves you. But something else happens too. Jackie sees their faces more clearly now. Not criminals. Not predators. Just young men chasing a story. A moment. Proof they were close to something dangerous and survived it. Show us, another says. Yeah, a third adds. Just a little. The first one reaches out. Not a punch. A grab. Fingers brushing Jackie's sleeve. That crosses a line. The circle tightens. Someone behind Jackie laughs nervously. Adrenaline is starting to leak into the moment. This is how things go wrong. Jackie's body shifts slightly. Not into a stance. Into balance. The first move is always invisible. The man closest suddenly feels pressure on his wrist. Not pain. Control. His arm is redirected gently but firmly. He stumbles a half step forward. Confused. The others tense instantly. This is it. This is where the fight is supposed to start. Instead, Jackie releases him. Immediately. Steps back. Raises one hand. Palm out. Stop, Jackie says. Not loudly. Clearly. The men freeze. Not because they were ordered to. Because something about the moment changed. I don't want to hurt anyone, Jackie continues. But this is becoming dangerous. The first man rubs his wrist. Man, he says. You think you're scary? Jackie shakes his head. No, he says. I think you are. That lands wrong. The men exchange glances. One laughs it off. You're cornered, he says. What are you gonna do? Jackie looks around again. He sees what they don't. A security camera on the corner. A hotel employee watching from the glass door, uncertain. A driver down the street who hasn't noticed yet. Time. I'm going to leave, Jackie says. The men laugh. Someone steps directly into his path. No, you're not. This is the moment everyone expects violence. This is where the story usually turns. Jackie lowers his hand and bows. Not deeply. Not ceremonially. Just enough. The gesture confuses them more than any strike could. What are you doing? One asks. Jackie straightens. I'm apologizing, he says, for making you feel like you need to test yourselves. Silence. The words don't compute. The leader scoffs. That doesn't even make sense. Jackie nods. I know, he says. But it's still true. One of the men shifts uncomfortably. This is weird, he mutters. Jackie takes a step forward. Not toward them. Between them. He moves into the gap without aggression. No saden motion. Just presence. If I fight you, Jackie says calmly, one of you gets hurt. Maybe more. And then what? The leader bristles. You think you're that good? Jackie meets his eyes. I think you're not bad people, he says. And that matters. The leader opens his mouth to respond, then stops. Because something in Jackie's tone isn't condescending. It's disappointed. You want a story, Jackie continues. I understand that. But this isn't the one you want. The words hang there. Rain drips from a sign above them. A car passes at the end of the street. Life continues. The first man, the one whose wrist Jackie touched, exhales. Man, he says quietly, let him go. The leader snaps his head toward him. What? He didn't even try, the man says. He could have. That admission changes everything. The circle loosens. Just slightly. Enough. Jackie takes the opening. Not by running. By walking. As he passes, one of them blurts out. Why didn't you fight? Jackie stops. Turns back. Considers the question seriously. Because you would have remembered the pain, he says. He pauses. I wanted you to remember the choice. He walks away. Unhurried. Behind him, the men stand in the street, unsure what just happened. No victory. No defeat. No bruises to prove anything. Just a moment that doesn't fit their expectations. Jackie reaches the corner where his driver waits. The driver looks relieved. You okay? He asks. Jackie nods. Yes, he says. What the men don't realize yet is that this encounter will stay with them longer than a fight ever would. Because violence ends stories. But restraint leaves questions. And the questions that follow, the ones they'll ask themselves later that night, and years from now, will reshape how they think about strength, fear, and what it really means to be cornered. What happens next won't be loud. It won't be immediate. But it will matter. The street doesn't snap back to normal right away. After Jackie Chan disappears around the corner, the four men remain where they are, standing in the slick glow of neon, rainwater pooling at their feet. No one laughs. No one says anything clever to reclaim control of the moment. That's the problem. There's nothing to reclaim. The leader breaks the silence first. Man, he mutters, forcing a scoff that doesn't quite land. That was strange. No one agrees with him. The one Jackie touched, the wrist, flexes his hand slowly. There's no pain. No mark. Just a lingering awareness that his body moved without his permission. He could have dropped us, the man says quietly. Another shakes his head. He didn't even try. The words hang heavier than an accusation. They walk away separately. Not storming off. Not joking it off. Each of them carrying the same unanswered question in a different way. That night, one of them lies awake longer than he'd like to admit. He replays the moment again and again, trying to find the instant where fear should have taken over. Where adrenaline should have surged, where fists should have flown. Never does. Instead, he remembers the bow, the apology, the look on Jackie's face when he said, I think you're not bad people. That's what keeps him awake. Because bad people don't get disappointed looks. They get anger. The next morning, the leader tells the story at breakfast. Loudly, performatively, he makes himself sound dominant, in control. He says Jackie talked his way out and didn't want trouble. But halfway through he stops. Because the words don't feel true. And everyone at the table hears it. One of the others interrupts. That's not how it went. The leader glares. Oh yeah. He wasn't scared, the man says. He was calm. Someone else nods reluctantly. He didn't act cornered. That's the word that sticks. Cornered. Weeks pass. Life moves on. But something subtle shifts. The man whose wrist was redirected finds himself stepping back from arguments more often. Not because he's afraid, but because he notices how quickly things escalate when pride takes over. The leader becomes quieter. Not weaker. More measured. He starts paying attention to how often he's used intimidation instead of clarity. That realization is uncomfortable, but it doesn't leave. Across the city, Jackie moves on as well. Different hotel, different meetings, different nights. He doesn't dwell on the encounter. That's the discipline. You don't collect moments like trophies. You let them pass through. But even Jackie feels the echo. Not regret. Confirmation. That restraint still has power, even when it's invisible. Months later, one of the men attends a self-defense class. Not to fight, to understand. The instructor talks about de-escalation, about space, about how real danger often looks like curiosity before it looks like violence. The man feels his chest tighten. He's heard this before. He raises his hand. Is it possible, he asks, to stop a fight without winning it? The instructor studies him. Yes, he says. But it's harder. Why? Because you have to give up being right. The man nods slowly. He understands that now. Years later, the story surfaces again. Unexpectedly. At a bar. At a reunion. Someone tells it as a joke. Did I ever tell you we cornered Jackie Chan once? There's laughter. Until the punchline never comes. Instead, the teller pauses. He didn't fight us, he says. And that messed with us more than if he had. Someone asks why. He thinks. Then says, because we were ready to be enemies. And he refused. Meanwhile, Jackie's career continues. Awards. Films. Recognition. People praise his discipline, his control, his philosophy. They assume it comes from training. It does. But not only from that. In a rare, quiet interview years later, Jackie is asked about avoiding conflict. Do you believe fighting should always be the last option? The interviewer asks. Jackie smiles gently. No, he says. Sometimes it shouldn't be an option at all. The interviewer looks surprised. But you can fight. Jackie nods. Yes, he says. That's why I don't have to. The interviewer doesn't fully understand the answer. But the people who stood too close to Jackie do. One of the men from that night eventually has a son. When the boy gets into trouble at school for fighting, the father doesn't yell. He sits with him, listens, then tells him a story. About a night. About a man who could have hurt him and didn't. What did he do instead? The boy asks. The father thinks. He made us stop without making us small, he says. The boy considers that. That's harder, he says. The father nods. Yes, he replies. That's why it worked. Jackie Chan was cornered. Everyone expected a fight. They expected speed, technique, dominance. They expected a story that ended with pain. Instead, he gave them something they didn't know how to process. Choice. Violence would have ended the moment. Restraint extended it. Into memory. Into reflection. Into change. That's why the night stayed with them. Not because of what Jackie did, but because of what he didn't. And once you experience that kind of strength, you never look at being cornered the same way again.